Welcome to SoCal Sports Report, our weekly live podcast. I'm your host, John Stellman, along with Vince Morales, John Adams. And like I said, we are live. Go to the homepage, click on Be on the Show. You can go into the chat room there and send us a question, comment, disagreement. Contact us, and we'll respond to whatever you want to say. We love to have interaction, and the more the merrier. So feel free to jump right in and let us know if this time we start with our menu for the night. We will talk about the Dodgers, who made another tremendous acquisition. Certainly not the fanfare of Manny Machado, but the second baseman, Brian Dozier, they got is going to be a big, huge part of this ball club. And your fans are going to love him. He plays hard. He's a gritty guy, a gutty guy, and he's going to add a lot of spark to this lineup. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Pirates, the Pirates got Chris Archer, who the Padres were trying to nail. They missed out on that one. Angels, who sent Ian Kisler to Boston. We'll talk about a couple of the prospects they got from him. Also a prospect from Martin Maldonado from Houston last week, who's looks like a pretty good player. Can't pass without talking about well-deserved. Also, Trevor Hoffman, who is a local guy here in Orange County, was honored as well, so we'll talk about that. The Angels' Francisco Arcia last week had a major league record, 10 RBIs in his first two MLB games. We'll talk about that. Also, Chris Taylor breaking up Sean Newcomb's no-hitter in Atlanta. Sean Newcomb happened to be an Angel, came up in the Angel system. He was a part of the Eric Ibar trade to Atlanta for Andrelton Simmons. Talk about LeBron. LeBron had his first press conference in Akron yesterday at a school that he's publicly supporting and showing us an awful lot of humanitarian endeavors that he's involved with. We'll talk about that. John and Vince are going to talk on the Chargers and Rams, who are heavily into Galaxy and LAFC. The Major League Soccer, both of them are in serious contention for the title in MLS. So let's get right to it, and we'll go to Vince. Brian Dozier for Logan Forsythe, basically. That was an absolute steal.
Probably a couple of years late for the Dodgers, who were after him for a while, and based off of what he's done this year, another 16 home runs at the 100-game mark. He's going to bring exactly what the Dodgers really don't necessarily need, but just add to that slugging lineup more home runs. He's not hitting for much average this year. But neither was Forsythe, and Forsythe just never seemed to fit, never seemed to acclimate. But as far as the Dodgers are concerned, I remember there were guys like Urias and Verdugo and Bellinger, and just a lot of names that were coming up in the talks about that. And so getting rid of Forsythe's contract, which was big, and Forsythe doing nothing, and then getting rid of two Double-A prospects, an outfielder and a left-handed pitcher. That's as good as it could get for the Dodgers. I think if you're the Twins, if you're a Twin fan, you're probably a little disappointed with that haul. But the Dodgers have just been so deep that they can just continue to get rid of prospects that most novice fans haven't even heard of. Smeltzer and Rayleigh are not on too many people's radar.
That's a huge upgrade. I mean, even you figure Forsythe and Utley, and you're getting Dozier. I mean, that's
numbers just as a major league player are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is it just strengthens your whole bench. I mean, to be honest with you,
Right.
You can rest guys now. You can have a guy go on a DL. You're still going to keep your strength there. I don't know what you're going to do with Chris Taylor. I mean, if Turner with a third base situation, it kind of does scare me a little bit. You go after Dozier. How hurt is Turner? I mean, or is it just more or less, hey, we need to give him as much rest as possible? And you can totally tell that the Dodgers are completely building for September, and they're not worried about their division at all. They know that it's almost like they're making these trades with a lot of confidence, knowing I can have a couple guys on the DL. I'm still okay. I'm still going to contend in all my games. They went into a hot young Atlanta team. They played great against them, and Walker Buehler needs to come back and get some more innings in him. But you can totally tell it was just like it's like a really strong thoroughbred horse that knows the Kentucky Derby's around the corner,
right?
And they're just going to be able to go ahead and work him perfectly until that race. And I can totally tell the Dodgers have done a phenomenal job putting that whole puzzle together. And I think they're going to be very tough if their pitching comes. I mean, no, you got some guys on the DL, but if your pitching comes back, and you're losing games 4-1. I mean, you're not losing games 12-2. You're in every game that you lose.
Right.
So it's just, I think they've done a phenomenal job, and I think that sorry, Vince, and they just picked up a kid who's experienced and he knows how to play baseball, and with their game. So it's just the whole infield and now the outfield is just, if you can get Puig going, it's really good.
The thing that I wanted to say was that if you weren't a believer in this front office before, you have to be now.
Right.
They get a break, because this was supposed to be, even though on the facade it was, we are reloading, we're not rebuilding, they got rid of a lot of money. They made some to get under the cap, and they continue to be under the competitive balance tax threshold. Meanwhile, you can see what money buys in Boston, right? $235 million payroll. Well, the Dodgers know what that's all about, right?
They've been there.
And they know they've been there. Yeah. But this was supposed to be the year where I was cutting them a break, right?
Yeah, we were talking about 2019.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it was like, that 50% tax threshold. This is really phenomenal. To pick up Dozier and another arm for the bullpen that John was alluding to in Axford, who's got some experience, is going to add a lot of length in that bullpen. And then Dozier, again, for me, the one cloud in this is, but it's still them thinking about it. Maybe what happens if you don't sign Machado? The Dodgers could have, is it going to be Dozier?
Right.
That, Seager comes back. So I'm not worried about Taylor's playing time this year. There's always going to be somebody hurt.
And they're not worried about 2019. They're worried about right now.
Right now, yeah. Exactly.
So they'll deal with that issue later.
Don't worry about.
It's the way Magic thinks. That's what Magic's putting a Lakers team together the same way. I mean, he says it's not about the future with the Dodgers and these teams.
Right.
Like the Yankees are doing the same thing. It's all about right now.
Exactly.
These people spend a lot of money to go to that baseball stadium, and they expect winners. And let me tell you, they're doing everything that they need to do to win right now. And they were this close from winning last year.
Yeah,
and that's in the back of their mind saying, we're not going to do that this year, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that for me, once they get back on to being those overbuyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
what are they going to do then, right?
Yeah.
They're going to pay lots of good players a lot of money, and the thing is that if this team ends up going to the World Series or winning the World Series, you're going to look empty, the farm system.
You gave away. You've given away one top.
Yeah, you've still got all your top
right?
top prospects.
Yeah. So
Dozier, people probably may not know. 2 years ago, 42 home runs, 99 RBIs, and last year he was 30. where is it, 34 and 93.
Yeah, I mean,
so this guy's got some size.
Yeah, his overall is
RBI
269, 349, 522 with 76 home runs, 65 doubles, and 9 triples in 1396 plate appearances.
You wouldn't think, you wouldn't think second base is a power position, but
he's sneaky power.
He is power.
Absolutely,
right,
he is power.
Yeah, he's got 16 home runs and 52 ribbies this year. And having an off year at average wise.
Yeah.
But you put him in this lineup, and who knows?
Pressure on
him. Where do you hit him? You hit him second, I guess, or I mean, that's the question: is where are you going to hit him?
You got a bunch of number 4.
You hit him 8, or you hit him second, right? Or
I'd rather hit him second than Machado hit second.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not a fan of that.
But well, you figure when Turner comes back, Turner, Machado, Dozier, and then Muncy Bellinger at first.
I mean, I guess that's Muncy's been a phenomenal pick.
Yeah, he's been a great surprise.
Here's a guy that was going to high school, begging people to throw him BP.
Yeah.
And now he's in a home run hitting contest, right, at the All-Star game. And now there's a guy that's great. When you're in the World Series and you go to the American League ballpark, you got a solid DH, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I don't know who you're going to do. Is it a big field? Is it not a big field where you put Bellinger at the DH, or whatever?
Muncy's terrible.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's got no position.
Gotcha.
I mean, honest to God,
Right.
He's a
really,
DH.
They put him at first base.
You try to hide him there.
You
right?
try to hide him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's
Gotcha.
playing first base, but when they play him at third or anywhere else, he's just dreadful. He's dreadful.
Gotcha. So do you try to now ask Taylor?
Chris Taylor?
Taylor to play third base?
No, they don't need they don't need Taylor at third base. Machado will play third.
And who's playing short?
Well, Taylor can play short.
Oh, so Taylor's playing.
Or
Kike.
Gotcha. I mean, they've got a lot of options.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about this last week. There's positionless baseball, right?
Yeah.
So Machado can play short. He can play third.
Yeah.
Right. Taylor can play shortstop, second base. He can play a little third base if they need him to. He can play the outfield positions.
Yeah.
Kike Hernandez can play the infield positions. He can't pitch, however. That we know.
Found that out.
That
buddy. It's
he's
always
got
my buddy when
he's got an arm. He's got an arm left in the bullpen, yet he throws Kike Hernandez and then they end up losing that series.
There's nothing good that happens after midnight, man.
Yeah, well, that's certainly not in Philadelphia.
Right, yeah.
There might be. Is there going to be a little bit more pressure on Roberts now? He's got a lineup there that.
I don't think
tremendous
if you continue
lineup.
to win. I don't think you're going to have pressure, right? I mean, you got a team that's built like that, and you don't make the playoffs, or you fail. You fail, or you don't win your division, or then you're under the microscope. But if you got everybody flowing and the locker room's great and everything's going in the right direction, and he just goes out and goes, "You're playing here and you're hitting here," and just sits back and then looks at his third base coach and gives a couple signs maybe here and there.
See that's the crucial leverage type of situations. He's been known to make some odd decisions. Like for instance, it's not a big deal. It's middle of summer, dog days are coming, so he didn't want to stretch the bullpen. And I don't get that. All right, that was the middle game of a 3-game series, and he had a fresh arm left. It's win tonight. Win tonight. You're not going to win with Kike Hernandez on the hill. You're just not. Right? I know he can throw about 90 or 89 or whatever. He can throw hard. I mean, he throws hard. He was throwing in the high 80s. He just wasn't letting it loose. But I don't understand that. You had a fresh arm. He had Hudson in the bullpen.
Right.
He was fresh. You worry about tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
Put somebody on the DL, right, and call somebody up.
Right.
So that was a series that they lost because Roberts decided he was going to throw Kike in. Tops. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But again, we talked about this last week. Cora, Boone, Roberts.
Right.
These are all young guys without managerial experience, and had teams that are winning off the charts.
Exactly.
It's crazy, and a lot of that is because it's the front office now.
Right.
That's where the real heroes are.
Yeah,
Clearly.
I want to mention again, some of you might just be tuning in. We are live. You can go to the homepage, click on Be On the Show, and send us go into the chat room, send us a comment, a concern, a disagreement. We'll get right back to you. Vince and John are on top of it. And,
we're monitoring.
We'd love to hear from as many people as possible, and you don't have to like or agree everything that we say. Let's hear somebody who's mad at us for a reason.
Well, within reason. We want them to be civil, right? Okay.
The Pirates lost out on their attempt to grab Chris Archer. I'm sure Chris Archer would rather go to a team that's at least in a contending position. The Angels, Ian Kinsler to Boston. That doesn't break my heart.
Nope.
I like David Fletcher now. He's going to be in there every day.
An everyday position. Yep.
And he's a spark plug.
Yep.
I love him. They got some pitching help. They got some pitching help from Boston. Ty Buttery, who was a reliever, Williams Herreras.
Yeah.
Two relievers, 25, 26, who have shown some good signs in AAA. Buttery 25 games at 225. 3.68 in 22 relief appearances, also AAA. They also picked up 21-year-old Patrick Sandoval in the Maldonado deal from Houston. So I like the idea the Angels are at least stocking the farm system.
Yeah, again, we only know if this is a successful trade is when they get to the big leagues, right? So it's just a waiting game now.
But I'd much rather
just hope that our scouts have done a great job and went to these ball games and make sure that they're making the right decision to go after these guys. But, we're a wait and see. So, I just think from now on, it's going to get pretty ugly, right? So, you're already losing 10-1 to Tampa Bay in the third or fourth. So,
much rather have guys that are in AAA with a couple of years' experience than guys from low A or high A.
10-3 now, so we're actually coming back.
I was pleased with those acquisitions, and thank goodness we get Fletcher in there.
Yeah,
get him in there.
I like him. I like him. He's a little spark plug. So
he is. He's a David Eckstein type player.
Yep.
Vlad and Trevor Hoffman, 2 of the 6 into the Hall of Fame, very richly deserved on both parts. Hoffman was the first to crack 600. He had 601 saves. Mariano's beaten that, 652, but he was the first. And Vlad is just, what can you say about Vlad? A lot of the East Coast hacks were lobbying for him to go in as an expo.
But can you go in as an expo?
I think he can. I think he can choose.
I didn't know if you could actually.
He had better numbers with the Expos, but he was there one year longer, and the impact he had on the Angels. 6 years, 173. MVP in 2005, and he or was it 2004? And the team won the division 5 times during Vladdy's 6 years. So I don't think you can really cry about that.
He's a true talent. I know watching him play in Anaheim, I've never seen somebody just so relaxed at the plate, right?
Right.
Didn't let really stressful situations get at him. It was really hard for a pitcher to pitch to him because he was so free on where he swung. He could hit balls in the dirt.
He did.
He could hit balls over his head. Just a natural talent. My knock on him was I didn't like the preparation for the speech. You've been put into the Hall of Fame, and he just went up there and free willied the whole nonchalant it. And I know it's because he wanted to speak his language, which I have no problem with. But there was no book in front of him. I think he could have done a little bit better, but it was shortened to the point. And I guess if I was speaking on his behalf, he didn't like to talk. So probably
5 minutes.
That's the counter on that.
Not a Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
But then again, sometimes he swung at bad pitches and knocked them out of the park.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Pitches off the top of the dirt, shoe tops, right? This one he just swung and missed.
Yeah.
He took a swing at a pitch outside the strike zone and he missed. But he doesn't
positive,
change anything about it.
Trevor had a phenomenal speech. Jim Thome had a phenomenal. Jack Morris had a great speech.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Chipper. I mean, all the speeches were really, really good. I just, he went up there and grabbed the mic and took his pictures. And
Yeah.
I was waiting for just baseball been very, very good to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And left.
Some. And I think of the Hall of Fame, I think of guys like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig,
Right.
Things like that. Walter Johnson, Cy Young. That's what I think of. And then there are plenty of guys like, Jack Morris and Chipper Jones. It's like, yeah, they were really good. But when I was watching them, I never thought, that's a Hall of Famer. That is a once-in-a-lifetime guy that I'm going to walk into the park to see. And now so many, people are going, oh, what about those 90s Braves? There were so many other guys from those 90s Braves. And I'm thinking, and they're making a case for Andrew Jones. And I only remember Andrew Jones. I mean, obviously, I remember how well he was and what a great center fielder he was. And he hit for some power and had some good numbers in Atlanta. But I only remember what he did with the Dodgers. And so I was tweeting some flap back to people because they're talking about Andrew Jones. And it's like 222, 158, 214, 230.
Not Hall of
An
Fame
embarrassing resume for a Hall of Famer. And anybody who says, oh, no, you forget about that. Just take the best 6 years. It's like, no, that's not Hall of Fame. Make another, wing of the Hall of Fame for guys like Andrew Jones, who you think are Hall of Famers, but shouldn't be anywhere near Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig or any of those guys.
You know what I thought was a great statistic is, because I forgot to mention Alan Trammell, but Jack Morris and Alan Trammell came in together with Detroit, and they're going out at the Hall of Fame together, which I thought was a pretty cool little deal. And then the interview of Sweet Lou Whitaker was great with Alan Trammell, because that was probably one of the best duos of a double play threat for 19 straight years. And I thought that was really cool.
But this is what happens when the bar starts to shrink down. Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker's numbers at their positions, two guys who had numbers in the 40s or 50s, and it's a different game, and right. So if you look at it, Whitaker should probably be there too, based off of what's going on. So for me, it's one of those things where the Hall of Fame has lost some luster to me, because I love those players, but I don't think of them as like first tier Hall of Fame, which is why I think we need tiers.
All right.
Yeah, that's
good point.
It's a good thought. There's some players in there that questionable credentials.
There always is. There always will be. So I go back and forth about the Hall of Fame. I think it's great, but the fact.
Well, the one that comes out for next year is Rivera, which is going to be a good one. But I don't know how many first ballots are going to get in other than Rivera from the Yankees. I mean, I don't know. Andy Pettitte did first. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but the other guys, I don't know if there's multiple guys that get in at first ballot. I think there's going to be.
I think we just it makes money for the major leagues, and people get invested in the teams that they grew up watching. Right. Some of these guys, they're just not. I mean, Alan Trammell is a great player. He's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
He's just not. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And
then you got your Veterans Committee who can put people in that have already ran out of their 10 years of eligibility.
Yeah. There's a lot of asterisks now with that.
Nice debut for Francisco Area with the Angels. The catcher they brought up to replace Martin Maldonado, who was traded to Houston. 10 RBIs in his first two major league games. And he's also the first Angel to hit home runs in his first 2 major league games. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this was a nice story. Nice.
Nice, 12 years in the minors, right? Without even having come to the bigs.
Was he 28 years old?
And has 2 great games. And, I don't think he's our future, but if he turns into a good backup, that'd be good.
Even
good
if he
story,
just has a good half year. I mean,
exactly.
But that's I would assume that's on the Angels' radar to try to find another Maldonado or somebody that can really work with the catch.
He would be comfortable signing with the Angels in the offseason as a free agent.
Oh, good.
Maldonado did. So, yeah, I liked him, but we already mentioned. Yeah, the Dodgers getting the 1 hit against Atlanta with 2 outs, 2 strikes on Taylor.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I was almost rooting against Taylor. I mean, it didn't look to me like at 4-1 they're going to win the game. Although you never know, they could have, I suppose. But gosh, when you get that close, that guy is never going to be anywhere near that again. And to be 1 strike away, I was really rooting hard for.
Because you never know if you're ever going to be in that position.
No, exactly right.
Well, again, it's a getaway day of a 4-game series, right? Those guys had checked out mentally already. They had already taken 3 from the Braves. They had checked out. So look, it's hard to. He's going to remember that, right? Nobody remembers almost no hitters.
No.
Right? So if he had done it, he would have done it, and nobody would have remembered that it was getaway day of a 4-game series. So
that's true.
So for me, it's like, hey, the Dodgers won the first 3, and they almost got no hit. It's getaway day.
Yeah.
Who were they playing? Well, did anybody have a good at bat? Probably not until then, right?
I still would like to have seen him got it.
Yeah.
Because he'll never get it, like you say, he'll never get another chance.
Unless he's pitching the 4th game of a 4-game series when the opposing team has already won the first 3 and it's getaway day, and he might get another chance. He threw well. He threw well.
Of course. He's the next Angel.
Yeah.
They always throw well after they get out of town.
Exactly.
I wanted to interject while we're talking about Allard making his pitching debut. Is probably on the hill right now.
It's delayed.
Oh, it's rain delay. There you go. Yeah. But I thought there's 3 great San Clemente High School stories.
Just started middle of the 1st.
There we go. So Colby Allard played at San Clemente High School, was first-round draft pick for the Atlanta Braves. He's made it to the major leagues. He's been promoted, makes his major league pitching debut tonight. Sam Darnold signs a guaranteed fully guaranteed $30 million contract, $20 million signing bonus. And also San Clemente High School alum McCall Zerboni played for the U.S. women's national team, came on in the second half of that game as a replacement at midfield, and was right there for that header. She just missed the header and that went in, but the women scored and tied that game up late. And so 3 great stories of San Clemente High School athletes.
Yeah, so
well deserved.
I guess getting back to the Darnold situation, it was I had heard rumors that Sam was very upset with the agency, that they were trying to win a battle, like the agency was trying to win the battle. So I think Sam just kind of said, "Hey, I need to be on that football field. Figure it out." And I think either they kind of came to an agreement, but like he was pretty upset, saying, "Look, I need to be out there, and if this is over something ticky-tack for the agency to win the battle, come on, guys."
Well,
so do we know what it was?
It was something, if I'm right. I don't know what how to categorize
language.
it, but it's in a 4-year contract and 3 years. Let's just say, right? He wants to be able to double dip, and the agency and the Jets are saying no. I want to be able to only owe him $3 million, which is the difference of what the Patriots are gonna and what we owed him. and that's something that small was keeping him out of camp. And I don't know if there's something else.
I don't know.
All
I know is that it was very close to Mayfield's deal, which I thought might have been the sticking point, that the agency was saying, he's comparable to Mayfield. Let's give him the same kind of money.
I think it came down to this double dip thing, and then agency was trying to get the double dip, and the Jets were saying, no, we'll pay the difference if he goes.
Yeah. Those positions those slotted positions are already. The contracts are already figured out, aren't they, for the first, second, third, down to number 10? Aren't those
max?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
San Clementi's new millionaire.
There you go.
But hey, New York's an expensive place to live.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he deserved a little more.
All right, let's talk about LeBron, who opened his privately funded, or I guess he was a major funder, in an elementary school. Was it middle school or elementary? I'm not sure. In Akron yesterday.
It's a public charter school. I'm not sure which grades it covers.
Okay. And I guess he was well received. Huge crowd. I think you were talking before we went on air, Vin. You have a little bit of an idea what's behind
it's a cathedral, for kids who are at risk or underprivileged. See, it's a private type of school with amenities that most private schools don't have. We were just talking about it before that. One of the things LeBron said that helped him to escape, other than sports when he was little in basketball, was riding his bicycle. So he wanted to give every single kid that attends a bicycle. So that's the first thing that they get when they enroll. Again, it's a public school, public charter school. They're offering career placement and career services for the parents who, in a lot of cases, may be unemployed or underemployed. They're offering like a pantry for food, so that the parents can come in and take food back home to prepare for meals for that night or the week. Just a lot of things to kind of help these kids, get. He can do this in other places other than just Akron, but that's where this one is, and it's just tremendous. There's more details to it, and I encourage people to look into it and kind of find out what he's doing. And somebody said, he's the kind of guy, where he's about activism, but this is how he does it. He may speak out against the president as being a divider, but he's doing things that are inclusive and helping to unite that community. So just a great job, and we're lucky to have him.
He had a rough childhood, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, he was in the he was in poverty and.
Well, he went. Well, but I think he also was. I don't know if he was given a scholarship, but he was on that Oak Hill. Was he on the Oak Hill basketball program? So I don't know if it's like a modern day. I don't know if it's like
it's a Catholic school.
So I have a feeling that was a big benefit to him. But I agree, yes.
Yeah, but he didn't, no dad.
Yeah.
No,
came from hard times. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That was good to see, and I'm glad he was well received. And he made no bones about the fact that Akron is home, and he's going to take care of him. And I think it was a wonderful gesture on his part. He's certainly is a good example of athletes spending their money wisely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Giving back.
Yeah, giving back. Exactly.
I think the thing for me is that I love the Lakers and I want them to win championships, and we're expecting them to win championships with LeBron. But I think there was more to his. There was clearly more to his decision about coming to Los Angeles. That may not involve the happen right away.
Well, yeah, you can't expect it to happen overnight. They're not going to win the. They're not going to win the championship this year.
No, it doesn't seem likely.
May perhaps make the playoffs, but people can't. I've got to have patience. I think Magic said, if I haven't done it in 4 years or 2 years or whatever it was,
Yeah.
I think a big part of the Lakers' future is going to develop next summer, when they again will have cap room for a max contract, and there'll be some interesting free agents available. So, I think LeBron is probably realistic. I think he realizes. I think he likes the young core. I think he likes what he sees, but I think he understands that it's not probably going to be a championship team.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who diminish it or marginalize it, and like there was somebody anonymous ever came out and who with his name who said that LeBron didn't choose the Lakers, he chose Los Angeles. Yeah. And it's like, that's the sort of sour grapes where it's like, well, so what? He's a Laker.
That's all it counts.
Yeah. He's not a Clipper. He's a Laker.
That's right.
And you can think whatever you want. And so, but the Western Conference is going to be tough. It's going to be extremely tough. I think the best case scenario for the Lakers is if they're able to get a home playoff, be a top 4 seed, that to me that seems
that's a successful season.
That to me is huge accomplishment. Would be huge. Huge.
I agree.
I still think, I know Stern would never do this, and Goodell talked about it recently. I still think you should see the 16 teams in the finals by record, regardless of conferences. 500, and the 5th seed in the East was under 500. I still think you should have the top 16 records, regardless of conference. So
1 plays 16.
Beg pardon? Yeah.
So 1 plays 16.
Yeah,
2
you
plays
have.
50.
So you have 12 teams in the West and 4 teams in the East.
Isn't that a big travel issue, though?
Well, that was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a TV money issue because people in New York check out when it's Portland and Salt Lake City.
That's true.
They just will. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Rams and the Chargers. I'm going to let you guys handle this. You want to lead off?
I have no idea what's going on with the Chargers, frankly.
Yeah. Go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, no,
you're
none.
You're Mr. Ram.
I have no idea what's going on with the Chargers.
As you should.
Are they doing anything?
Yeah, they're a camp, just like everybody
else.
else.
Okay, they're a camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the only thing I would say about the Rams is to Cooks and Gurley, obviously they're an offensive team, even so. For me, they've got too much leverage with Donald, and everybody needs to sort of understand that. You can say, oh my God, they got to sign him. I agree with that. In order for it to be harmonious and for the future of this team, they got to extend him. But the fiscal and the economical realities of it is no, they don't. They hold all the cards, right?
That's right.
He's still got time on his contract, right? They're still in control. They still have franchise tags available for him. I mean, they've got everything. I mean, he's only in his 4th year. He doesn't even he doesn't get that free agent. He has to play this year to be eligible for free agency, right?
Well, I think he's already missed. Free agency or something. I think.
He's still under control.
And I think the Rams are playing this great. And the reason why is, I think if you look at the longevity of these big guys that are nose guards or D linemen, and you give them that 4-year contract, only 2 of the 4 really work out. So if you just 1 year it, and just take it year by year, I think it's not a bad way to go at things. Yeah, you're going to franchise it. I mean, look what Washington did, right? With Cousins, right? Was it Cousins, right? And they did.
Cousins.
But I mean, I think it's not a bad idea. I mean, it's like Vince said. I mean, they hold the cards, and I think they're going to sign him. There's no doubt. What they do is now the whole poker game that we have to figure out. But it wouldn't surprise me if they tried a 1 year. He's for the next 4 years. Yeah. He's still young. He's going to be really good. And
he feels like a lock, Hall of Fame lock already. But that's the problem, you know. How many years does he have? Yeah. And so that's the only leverage that these players have. They're not that many guaranteed contracts, right? Not a lot of money guaranteed in the NFL. Yeah. So this is the only leverage they have, is to hold out. And I've said it before. No, it's no big deal for the Rams if he's not. It saves them some wear and tear. And Aaron Donald doesn't want to be in camp right now either.
No,
who wants to be? Who wants to be in 90-degree heat in Irvine right now? Yeah. Nobody.
And you know, get them in there in time, but with Verrett with the Chargers, right? Guy's doing just regular little agility skills, and he blows out his Achilles tendon.
Exactly.
And he's done, right? Exactly. So Hunter Henry, blows out his knee, running some routes. So it's just, some of these guys, like, remember last year, Mike Williams with the Chargers, bad back, right? Now this camp, he looks phenomenal. Well, that's great. Don't give him some reps, but don't keep these guys healthy for day one, right?
Yeah, don't kill him.
Right. So, I think they're doing the right thing. It's like Vince said, they're they got the momentum on their side. What they do, is just how they strategically want to finagle this whole contract to make sure that everything works the right way. So,
when they offer him a contract, there's only so much they can offer him. And if he says no to that, or I don't even know if they're having those conversations yet, but they're it's a hard cap league, right? So
yeah,
he missed the first game last year. It didn't seem to hurt him too much.
No, and by the way, and that's what's that. The Rams have the great depth. I mean, I was watching the Brian Gumbel show, Real Sports, right? They did a deal on McVay, and it was a phenomenal, like, the guy, he's like, it's almost like an ex-Gruden. I mean, he's like sleeps 5 hours out of the day. I mean, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's a savant.
And Cooley, his old tight end from Washington, said, that guy has the most energy I've ever met in my entire life. It is absolutely crazy how he goes 100 miles an hour. And here's the crazy thing about it. You guys should see the show. It's guys are in the second quarter against Seattle. It's 2nd 11, and what do you think happens? And he has this memory. He goes, oh, yeah, we threw a screen off to so-and-so and Gurley, and he went 15 yards. I mean, he has that kind of a memory, and because that's how much film he watches. He is in the office, I think, 6 or 7 hours before they even go on the field, every single day. So, and
that's what you call dedication.
He's only 30, and it brings me
crazy.
back of what we've heard about, little Chucky up there in Oakland. He slept in there. Joe Gibbs slept in his locker room for 3 days out of the week. It's just,
Yeah.
But I think the Rams.
So did Dick Vermeil, but that was because he was in his 70s.
Nobody ever. But so yeah, I think the Rams are. I mean, they're just locked and loaded. I think it all. I hate to say this, but it all falls on Goff's shoulders. Really, to be honest with you, I mean, I think everything else is in place. So how does he execute? The great thing about it is he's got a phenomenal coach who's an offensive-minded guy and will not put him in stressful situations. It's when he does get in a stressful situation, how does he handle it? That's the only thing I think the Rams really need to worry about, to be honest with you. But
he matured a lot last year, Goff.
He absolutely did.
Yeah,
he made there were still times when he made some poor decisions,
right.
But again,
rushes,
you got to remember how old he is, right?
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Chargers, how are they gonna, Verrett's out for the season. When does Hunter Henry come back? Who's the star? Who was this? Going to be the starter this year as your tight end. Our tight end, position is now very elderly, but the great thing about it is Philip Rivers likes to throw to the guy. So, but the big one is Forrest Lamp. I don't know if you remember him. He was
Oh,
our
yeah.
third round draft pick, and blew out his knee. First game maybe, or second game.
Him. Yeah.
He's still been put on the PUP, but they're just monitoring him. I think they just want to bring him back. But I have a feeling by probably mid-season or maybe about 4 or 5 games into the season, they'll be working him into, possibly working to become a starter in one of the positions and help in our depth. So, it's very early. It's the fourth day. So Mike Williams is getting a lot of write-ups. So he looks like he's phenomenal. We're just kind of in a wait and see right now.
How's your backup quarterback situation?
Yeah, it's a coin flip. Yeah. There's a backup quarterback? I didn't know there was a backup quarterback. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's your joke.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they get some duct tape and some splints on the side for Rivers, get him through the season, it could be a good team. It could be a Western Division.
Well, they could have easily made the playoffs last year if they had just closed out 3 or 4 games, which they led going into the fourth quarter and let get away. And it was down to the last day of the season before it was determined whether or not they'd make the playoffs, and they almost snuck in. So.
Yeah, but for me that becomes like a culture thing. It's been a couple of years where they let a lot of games get away. Because of their kicking or because of their special teams or because of this or they couldn't hold.
Important things in this whole entire camp is what we get out of it is a kicker. Is our kicker going to perform? Yeah. So that's always been in the first 3 weeks to 4 weeks. Our kick is a kicker issue. I know that we have like 3 or 4 guys that but can we get a kicker? And that's what's so great about the Rams.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's one of the things we take for granted. I mean, we barely even mention them. But Zerline and Hecker, they're rock solid. I mean, Hecker's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. That guy, the way that he can place balls and the length that he gets, he's just ridiculous. He's a weapon.
Yeah, he is.
He's an absolute weapon.
Punter,
yeah. Hecker, yeah. And Zerline's good.
No, they're great.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's obviously we're going to see how the next month. So,
are they going to be able to handle the injuries okay?
We don't, I don't know. There was one time, one year with the Chargers, we lost 7 centers in 1 year. So I don't know. It's like my teams are hilarious. The Angels, they can't keep a pitcher right because
exactly.
They can't keep them healthy, and then the Chargers, draft choices are being blown out knees and can't make so it's just I just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
One day we'll be able to go all the way through. So
come over to the dark side, John.
Yeah, no chance. They left me a long time ago.
Wanted to mention again for anybody just joining us that you can be a part of the show. We're live, and go to the homepage, click on Be on the Show, go into the chat room, and we got John and Vince both monitoring in the studio.
He's been over there. There might be some pilot error over there. We're not sure.
John is attempting to monitor.
Yeah.
So we just want to make you aware of that. The Galaxy had a nice comeback against the LA Football Club, winning. They fought back from 2-0 and 3-0 deficits to get a win and a tie. And they've all of a sudden moved right into third place in the Western Conference. They were struggling down near the bottom for much of the season, but they found a spark here late in the year. And the LAFC is 10-5-6, 36 points for second behind Dallas, 6 points behind Dallas. Galaxy's right there, 10-7-5, 35 points. So it looks like both of our local and they're both they've got the smaller stadiums, but they're both selling out.
Oh yeah, I watched the end of the LA I think it was at the L.A. Football Club Stadium. What a gorgeous stadium!
The bank.
Yeah.
The bank. Yeah.
And the Galaxy came back again in that game.
Yeah.
It was exciting. The place was going nuts too.
They were going nuts outside too,
yeah.
and they were beating each other up apparently.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, they had some problems.
A little ruckus.
Oh boy.
Couple of
Yeah, a
ruckus.
little some fisticuffs. So the hooliganism has come over to L.A. soccer.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It jumped the freeway.
It must be there must be leftover Raider fans.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have anything else, and we've still got about 10 minutes to go. You guys think of anything that we want to think on the college level, or
Got a WGC this week.
warm up? Huh?
Tiger will be in the field. He's had a extremely large amount of success at this golf course. So could be another week for Tiger. He's just committed to another 2 tournaments. So
Good.
he'll be at the PGA, and then he's gonna play at the Northern Trust and a couple other ones down the road. So looks like his body's holding up, and really trying to fight to get himself to be possibly make the team for the Ryder Cup. But I have a feeling, I know that he's already been given the assistant captaincy position, but I have a feeling that he will be a pick if he continues to do what he's doing. I think it's going to be very easy for Furyk to pick him. Rumor mill is with the course in Paris that they'll be playing. There's not going to be a lot of drivers being hit with the big hitter. I mean, he can give it a run. What's crazy about it is his downfall is the driver right now. So if you're going to tell me he's only got to hit 4 of them, I think that's going to really fall into the Americans' side of picking him to be a possible captain's pick if he doesn't make it outright. Yeah, so it's a very limited field, only the top players in the world. I think it's top 75 maybe in the world get to play. So, and then next week is the 4th major, which is the PGA Championship, which is in Belle Reve in Maryland. So that's kind of one of the easiest majors of the year, they call it. But
Are all the big boys in this weekend's tournament?
all the big boys will be in here, yeah, because WGC, yeah, World Golf Tournament. So I don't think, and then another great statistic in golf. For the 3rd year in a row, 3 tournaments in the year, and he put himself since 2008 to present. Tiger Woods has won 18 tournaments in that span, and he just won his 19th. So put himself up with a lot of big names, to kind of one more step into the Hall of Fame for Dustin Johnson. So it was it's just absolutely amazing how far they're hitting it. I mean, the 18th hole's a par 5, and he hit driver pitching wedge. He's just
crazy.
These drivers are going 350 yards, and and he's hitting pitching wedges from 175 out of the rough, and it's just it's crazy. So, but overall, that's for golf on the golf side of things. An update: Colby Allard is winning 1-0. Top, so he's top of the 3rd, I think. So
that's great.
So that's that, and
yeah, the only thing that I would add is saw Justify parade at Del Mar, being retired, the Triple Crown winner, the WinStar Stables.
Right.
And what a great what a short but great career. 6 starts, 6 wins, and 3 of those for the Triple Crown. So when he paraded at Santa Anita, they were still thinking that he might come back. Paraded at Santa Anita, and then they announced the retirement a few weeks later, and then he came to parade at Del Mar.
Bob Baffert.
And I think we were texting back and forth when this was going on. A very big horse.
He's about 16 and a half hands. Yeah,
he's a
tall.
big horse,
yeah,
right?
It's good size.
And
the girls are going.
Just looking at it overall is when you're dealing with such small bones down there with the hooves and stuff is in the ankles, that if they did say, hey, let's save him for the Breeders' Cup, and he breaks down, you know how much money that is going to. I think they made the right decision there. You know, he goes.
Oh, for sure.
Goes to stud at 6-0 and with the triple. I mean, I don't need to win anything else. You know, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go enjoy kicking the back wall and getting ready. So
he's done it all. All right, if that's all we've got, we'll wrap it up.
Same time next week, John?
Same time next week. Be live again, so anybody out there that didn't get a chance to get in, get your questions ready and have at it. We'd love to interact and get back to you and hear from you next week. So